All right, so kind of just to jump right into it. So there's this video going around that I believe is a compilation of different cakes that you've made, and the thing is, they all don't exactly look like cakes.
Hmm.
Um, so there are things like an eggplant, a pickle, a McMuffin, and people have been pretty blown away by it. So I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit, sort of like how it feels to you to see this kind of reaction to your work.
Um, I'm excited that people are so excited about the cakes because I've been making cakes for 9 years now, and I've always made like the hyper realistic stuff, or I'm shooting for hyper realistic, and
Hmm.
so now I have like a good amount of cakes. So when I made this little montage video, so when people are seeing like a realistic cake and then it's cut, and then a new one and it's cut, it's kind of cool to see all the cakes together, and I think that people really appreciate it.
So since these videos of your cakes have sort of gone viral, at least gone viral recently, the main joke people are making is that they're worried a day will come, or a day has already come, where they'll no longer be able to tell the difference between the real version of something and a cake version of something. So it's sort of like the Matrix, but with cakes. Um, have you seen any of these jokes people have been making?
Yes, definitely. So what's hilarious about that is I'm actually more well known in the past for my bust cakes of humans. So when I post a photo of myself on my social media, everybody for years now has been saying like, "Is that a cake? Is that you or is that a cake?" And they always make these jokes. And so they're always like, "You need to make a cake of yourself, like a bust cake of yourself." So I'm actually literally working on that right now, and it's like staring at me. It's just going to encourage the idea that you don't know what a cake is anymore, I think.
Yeah.
What's reality and what's a cake?
The your self-portrait in a cake, is it creeping you out yet, or is it
Yeah.
not?
So when I start the cake, like there's not much to it. It's pretty simple. And then as I start building up my features, it's funny because I'm working on the chin and working my way up. And I'm starting to see my mouth and my nose come together. And I'm like, this is so weird. I actually, I had it sitting out and I came in the room like in the middle of the night and I looked over and it kind of weirded me out a little bit. And it actually looked a little bit like my dad, and I thought that was hilarious. I'm like, I look more like my dad than I realized.
So will this be? I know you said you've made cakes that are like busts of people before. Do you feel like you've ever made a cake that truly fooled people into thinking like that's that's that celebrity, or that's that person, that's not a cake?
I made a Michael Scott like cake, bust cake. It was from The Office when he
Mhm.
was in character as Prison Mike. And there's this very specific scene where he's making a face. It's kind of like a. So I recreated that in cake, and I swear I wanted it to be that exact scene. So I even like painted in shadows, which I normally wouldn't do because it's a sculpture. But I painted in the shadows to get the proper lighting, and I got that one really, really close. And I think that one definitely tricks people. They get a kick out of that one for sure.
So this next question is just a hypothetical.
Hmm.
If someone, say, hypothetically, was having their funeral, and instead of putting their body in the casket, they wanted a life-size cake replica of themselves that their guests could both mourn and eat, do you think you could make that cake, and would you make that cake?
I 100% could make a cake that looks like a human in a casket. I know I could. Would I make it? I'm going to say yes because I am literally willing to make so far I've made every cake that anybody's ever asked me to make. So I don't turn down cake orders. Maybe it's like meaningful. Maybe the person loved cake. I don't know.
Yeah. So you said you've never turned down a cake request. Are there any like extremely weird cake requests that stand out in your mind that you've done?
I have made I've made a lot of honestly all of my cakes are super weird. Like when I make a cake that looks like a human, people, when you go to cut it, it's a strange but like really fun like process. The cake cutting is my favorite part because people are always very nervous, and it's just like really it's just really entertaining. And I don't think that there's anything that's so weird that I wouldn't do it. I actually have never been asked to recreate like bachelorette party cakes or anything like that. Like, I don't get orders for adult cakes. And it's funny because a lot of my cake friends, I have cake friends, and they'll get those orders. And I actually haven't gotten any, but when the day comes, probably won't be able to put it online, but I'll make it.
So if you got that order, do you think you would still go with like the hyper realistic route, or make it more playful, less totally realistic?
You know, I would ask whoever's ordering the cake what they want. If they want something super realistic, I would definitely make it that. And if they want something that just kind of looks like it, I can do that too. So I'm not gonna make a call on that one.
Fair, yeah, yeah. Do you have any thoughts on what sort of the forefront of, I don't know, what you'd call it, cake technology or something, will be? Do you think cakes have reached their ultimate hyper realism yet, or is there still room to grow?
So I think that in the past 9 years, I've seen my cakes get better. I just only see if I keep working really hard, and people in general in the industry keep working really hard to make really interesting cakes, I think that there is definitely more to it. I think that we can really, what's the next thing we can do? I'm not quite sure yet, but I think we could get even more realistic, and I hope to be part of it.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep trying and experimenting. Like, for example, I made an onion cake. And what's funny about it is people who see it online, they think that it is a real onion skin. Like, I made a cake and I put an onion skin on it, which is not the case. That would be gross. So I actually used this stuff called wafer paper. And I found a way to wet the wafer paper and make like a little mold. And so that outside layer of the onion cake is actually vanilla wafer paper. So it is something that people use on cakes all the time. So it's like, how can you use these new materials and make them look like real life objects? I think there's still room for that too.
Yeah, for sure.
I think the selfie cake's going to be a good one, because
Yeah.
there's nothing like cutting into a cake that looks like me. Usually I make a cake of people that aren't actually there, and I don't get to see the celebrity next to the cake. But for this one, I literally get to hold it up, and I can compare the two. So I can try to make it as perfect as possible, and hopefully I can pull it off.
That'll be, the test could just be you put the selfie cake up somewhere and just take a photo of it and just post it as like, oh, photo of me looking out the window or whatever,
That's
and
a
see
good
if
idea.
people can tell the difference or not.
I should do that. They're going to be like, something's off. No, that's a great idea. Maybe I will do that. I won't even say it. I'll just be like, here I am.
Yeah, that's the test. Yeah.
Now I got to get it perfect.